Girls, take note. You are about to be spoken down to in a very condescending manner. With my delivery, this is going to be awful. Just making lots of vague generalizations, all of which are fairly easy to debunk. Your evidence is rubbish. Your arguments are pathetic. Of course. To then try and virtue signaling Kevin Logan's Descent of the Man-osphere videos. I am all for being polite when disagreeing with each other. You cunt. Get fucked. Oh, my brain hurts. Bloods are like metal. It is superior to house music.
That's fair enough. I mean, he's wrong about basically everything else, but he's right about the metal versus dance thing. Come on now, people. Hello there everybody, and welcome to episode 36 of The Descent of Man-osphere, the series where I take you through the ways in which the Manosphere and its utterly disgusting, reprehensible douchebag inhabitants are trying to reverse human evolution and drag us all back into the fucking sea. And today we're dealing with a cheap, watered-down knockoff version of Teal Deer, but even more fucking boring. If you can even imagine such a thing, seriously, this guy's tedious as fuck. Yes, we're talking about Omegon, I think. Omegon... Omegon, yeah, basically I don't know how to pronounce his fucking name because it's stupid. Anyway, yes, like I say, Omegon's is essentially a cheap knockoff version of Teal Deer. Teal Deer appears to be his senpai character, really. He's made various references to him in his videos. He does the same jokes. In fact, actually, he steals several of Teal Deer's jokes, and basically seems to believe most of the utter fucking garbage that Teal Deer believes as well. But yet, as we'll see later in the video, has the fucking temerity to accuse other people of cult-like thinking and stuff, you know. Yeah, but anyway, if there's one thing that YouTube Ahmadinejad, or whatever the fuck his name is, doesn't like, it's buzzwords.
Stop using buzzwords to try and devalue the merits of other people's opinions, and that someone is overcomplicating their life with worthless labels. I wonder how long it'll be until people start to realise that the more they identify with all these different things, the less they're represented, because the more they're trying to be unique. Where we ourselves, if we agree, are going to be labelled. We are going to be told what we are, and I don't like that.
Yeah, pointlessly throwing around emotionally loaded labels at people where they don't really apply anyway is really fucking stupid, isn't it, Amadamajoms?
And I'm hoping you eventually stop being cucked long enough. Regressive rhetoric. Regressive, libtarded rhetoric, you idiots spew. I have to wonder, how cucked are you? Are you half cucked? Are you cucked right through? Are you so cucked that you're basically brain dead? I really hope California exits the States. Could be so much nicer without California.
Yeah, buzzwords are terrible, aren't they? Except when you're using them. You hypocritical sack of shite. Now, to kick off this episode, we're going to do something that we haven't done in this series for a little while. We're going to White Knight for Steve Shives. And when I say we, I mean me, because I'm making this video, with Rory Katz obviously, but mainly me. Alright, Rory Katz, it's mainly you, fucking hell. So yeah, we're going to White Knight for Steve Shives by taking a look at an Omegon video, or an Omegon video, or an Omegon video. That went weird. Anyway, called Steve Shives Doesn't Understand Skepticism, which is a play on Teal Deer's, X doesn't understand Y type videos. Which is our first indication of the unoriginality of this fucking arsehole. But as we go along, we'll see how much Omegon knows about fucking skepticism as well, shall we?
Before we get to the video at hand, which is Steve, I'm not particularly good at saying it as everyone else does, so hang on.
Steve! 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 Steve!
Well, that joke was simultaneously embarrassing, shit, and unoriginal. You stole it from someone else, you dickhead.
Well, let's get on with this. I've been looking forward to Steve Shives for a while. That sounded wrong.
Yes, I'm a YouTube atheist, but try not to hold that against me, okay?
Are you a YouTube atheist? I keep forgetting because you're kind of involved with another movement that has a very cultish mentality.
Oh really? You want to accuse someone else of being in a very cultish mentality? The fact that you're faceless, pointless prick in a suit number 6,971 on the fucking internets, and the fact that you and your group all do the same videos about the same people and the same responses to the same videos and all the rest of it, right? The fact that you all hang out together in the same fucking groups and all the rest of it in a kind of, what would be the word for that? A kind of echo chamber, dare I say? Yeah, you're all basically in a fucking cult. You can fuck off. And of course there was the Steve fucking shouting shit that you stole from fucking Teal Deer and has become almost ubiquitous around your little fucking culty corner of the internet. So you can fuck off with accusing anyone else of being in a cult when you yourself are in a really, really shit cult. The only shitter cult I can think of is the one Stefan Molyneux tried to fucking set up.
However, for the sake of this video, I am willing to now just say, sure, you're a YouTube atheist, and I won't hold it against you.
Here are 5 toxic things about YouTube atheism.
The word toxic is doing its rounds again, isn't it? It's eventually going to become so worthless that toxic waste, when disposed of, will have to be renamed to the stuff we don't put in Litvinenko's tea waste. As a small side, can you please stop using the word toxic to describe any element of any group you disagree with?
Okay, you got yourself a deal, but only if you dickheads do the exact same thing with SJW and cuck. You know, the way you use those words interchangeably for basically anyone who disagrees with you in any way whatsoever. Yeah, if you can stop using those, because they basically mean nothing now, not that they ever really did, but they certainly mean fuck all now, right? Then you've got yourself a deal.
Number 1, it has a sexism problem.
I am intrigued as to whether or not you're going to call anyone else by name for blatantly, openly being sexist and bigoted towards someone else, or whether you're just gonna kinda maybe ish around it.
Why exactly do you want him to do that? I mean, presumably you just want him to name some big YouTuber so there's fucking drama. What's the fucking point? I thought this was supposed to be about skepticism.
Many of the most popular atheists on YouTube are brazen anti-feminists who insult and belittle women and men, but mostly women, who speak out against gender inequality.
Just because somebody is not a feminist or is an anti-feminist does not mean they do not stand for equality or that they are sexist.
Firstly, it's anti, not anti, okay? Look, come on. We're not Americans, let's try and keep the standards up, shall we? Secondly, he didn't say that all anti-feminists or non-feminists were misogynists. What he actually said was this.
Many of the most popular atheists on YouTube are brazen anti-feminists.
Many of the most popular atheists on YouTube are brazen anti-feminists.
So well done on your blatant strawman argument there, yeah. Very well done, yeah. Incredibly fucking intellectually dishonest of you. Skepticism.
They also proudly deny the existences of things like the wage gap, rape culture, gender imbalances in political and cultural representation, and other problems that are widely accepted and seriously discussed outside of the misogynist circle jerk that is the atheist community on YouTube.
I am curious as to what relevance those particular myths have within atheism.
They are relevant, as I'm sure you must fucking know, because a great many of the larger skeptic, atheist, whatever you want to call them, YouTubers have brought those points up and tried to refute them and basically fucking failed because they're doing it for ideological purposes rather than because they're actually skeptics looking to try and find out the truth. And that kind of bullshit permeates throughout internet discourse. That's why they're relevant. And I'm pretty sure you know that's why they're relevant, but yet you still disingenuously ask the question. Look, if your fucking video, or if the material for your video is that thin, why are you even making this fucking video? Apart from the obvious, which is that you're trying to pander to the exact kind of scum that Steve is very, very accurately describing right now.
Number 2, it also has a racism problem.
Well, of course it does, Steve. If a group doesn't agree with you wholeheartedly, you must find something wrong with it. So naturally, the social justice, intersectional feminist in you must now determine that because they don't support everything you believe, they must be racist.
Well, that's dumb because it's fucking ridiculously hypocritical on your part, okay? Look, you say that Steve just has to find fault with anyone he disagrees with in any way whatsoever. But that's all you do on your fucking channel. And indeed all you do in this video. It's just pernickety bullshit. Just nitpicking fucking little fragments of nothingness in order to try and construct some sort of video, which is so shit that even some of your fucking dullard fans must know how shit they are, but whatever, right? That's all you fucking do.
One of the most subscribed to atheists on YouTube recently made videos espousing his views that, for example, black Americans who speak out against racial injustice are part of a victim cult, or the displacement of black folks by gentrification isn't a problem because it results in nicer neighborhoods with fewer thugs hanging around, or, my personal favorite, the true outrage isn't racism, but people calling people like him racists. Because why would anyone think that the white guy who makes a virtue out of publicly not giving a shit about black people was a racist? It's ridiculous.
But that particular YouTuber was not wrong.
Well, no, he wasn't correct in any way whatsoever, but whatever, right? Your argument basically boils down to, yeah, I know he's racist, but so am I. What?
You make it a virtue to stand behind intersectional feminism that creates more victims than there are people, and openly supports racism towards people that are white, especially male.
Oh, won't someone think of the white men? Oh, God. You're such a fucking moron. On to the next bit.
Number 3, it has a religious bigotry problem too. The ugliest religious bigotry in the YouTube atheist community is, of course, directed at Muslims, who are commonly stereotyped as potential terrorists.
Right off the bat, I'm going to say I do not support profiling. I do support people who understand the evidence in front of them, the Quran and Hadiths that show and say and dictate violence, openly promote violence. Unlike Christianity, Islam has not gone through a major reformation, which it really should. Let's face it, it should. It is not bigoted to be wary. It is not bigoted to be wary with everything that has been happening, and your silence in these instances is deafening. There's only so many times people can keep tweeting out hashtag pray for this town, hashtag pray for that town. These towns are being done in by people acting in the name of Islam, only for the media and politicians to tell us they're not real Muslims because Islam is the religion of peace. Well, the other religions in the West seem to be oddly peaceful. Let's exclude the Westboro Baptist Church because nobody thinks that's a religion.
Hang on there, whoa. You're saying that the other religions in the West are peaceful? Really? That's the hill you want to die on, is it? Let's take a look, shall we? Now, firstly, I don't know why you're giving the Westboro Baptist Church a pass. Well, I do know why. It's because they totally blow your argument out of the water individually on their own. But let's put them aside, right? For some reason, you've decided that you want to give them a pass because you don't consider them a religion, even though that's demonstrably what they actually are. But whatever, right? Let's put them to one side. Let's see, are there any other instances of non-Muslim, religiously inspired terrorists doing fucked up and unpeaceful things in the West? So yeah, there are loads of examples of non-Muslims being religiously inspired fucking terrorists in the West in recent years. You fucking lying little hemorrhoid. Now, before anyone jumps up and tries to strawman me, right, I am not saying that Islam is all peace and light and wonder and virtue and love, okay? Obviously, that's not always the fucking case. I still put it that most Muslims are peaceful people because that's what reality is. But there are obviously some Muslims who do fucked up shit. But what I'm saying is that the people who say that, oh, Islam is like the sole concern in this regard, aren't doing it necessarily because of actual concern for Muslim terrorists. What they have decided, in fact what they have noticed, is that they can get away with being bigoted against Muslims in the way that their sort of forebears were able to get away with being anti-Semitic against Jewish people in the 1920s and 1930s in the same lands that they're now being Islamophobic. And that bigotry might be the thing that's inspiring this, rather than actual, skepticism.
But there's still plenty of judgmental condescension left over for Christians and religious folks in general. Many YouTube atheists will still cite belief in God as evidence of mental illness.
I have only ever heard that spoken once, and it was said as sarcasm.
Oh right, well if you've never heard it, it must never have happened then. Listen, you little fucking prick. I don't know how long you've been around in like atheist online circles or whatever, okay? But trust me, the argument that, belief in a god is a mental disorder or whatever, right, is a very common trope amongst a certain type of, they are sometimes referred to as new atheist or whatever, but basically amongst people who call themselves atheists or skeptics or whatever. And you must know that, or be incredibly inexperienced in this area. And if it's the former, then go fuck yourself. And if it's the latter, then just do the barest amount of fucking research about the thing you're going to talk about. Or shut the fuck up, because you clearly don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Number 4, it's addicted to drama and conflict.
Having spent a little over a year now involved in the online YouTube community, I can safely say drama is not exclusive to atheists. But
again, Steve never fucking said that. Why do you insist on strawmanning him? If you've got no actual material against him, this video should never have happened. You should be really ashamed of yourself, omjigums. Omji-bibbidi-bobbidis, right? That you ever crimped off this fucking turd and flung it at the wall of the internet. It's a fucking embarrassment.
what you are saying right now does not solely apply to the YouTube atheist community. There are other groups within the YouTube community that do this, some of which you support.
Number 5, it reflects poorly on the rest of the atheist movement.
So just atheism plus then, huh?
What the fuck was that? Was that supposed to be an argument on some level? Really? That's what passes for skepticism in your fucking mind, is it? You fucking idiot. I mean, what argument are you trying to make there? Well, I know you're not actually trying to make an argument. You're just throwing out the name of atheism plus because you know it's one of those sort of, dare I say it, triggering buzzwords that will get the response that you want from your baying mob of fucking scum that are your audience. Hashtag not all of Omjigom's audience, obviously. But if you're in the business of, you know, throwing out the names of organisations or people who you know will inspire a sort of hateful reaction from your audience of brain-dead simpletons, then you should really try that with Anita Sarkeesian, because that's especially effective, I've found, from, you know, watching pricks like you on the internet.
Ever wonder why, with a few notable exceptions, YouTube atheists are not invited to address secular conferences or represent atheist organizations to the public?
Nope.
Of course you've never wondered that. Of course you haven't, because that's what an actual skeptic would do. They would, you know, see an issue and try and find the answer to that, but you've never even, you know, wondered about it. That's very telling, you fucking moron. Now it's time for... Yes, it's the almost inevitable bit about Lacey Green. Although this bit isn't really about Lacey Green as such on this occasion. But it does come from a video in which he's responding to Lacey Green, so it basically counts. So fuck it, we're going to do this, right? And it comes from his response to Lacey Green's video that she made either the day after or a couple of days after the US presidential election in November of 2016, in which she, you know, pours her heart out and all the rest of it, and explains one or two things about why she doesn't like Donald Trump. And like so many of the I'm not an MRA but crowd, which Omjigoms is very much a part of, he decided that he wanted to shill for Donald Trump by lying his arse off. Now, it wasn't the first time he'd lied on behalf of Donald Trump. In a previous video to this, he claimed that Donald Trump had won the popular vote, which is wrong, to the tune of nearly 3 million votes, you lying piece of shit. But in his response to Lacey Green, there were several lies, but I didn't want to make like a full response thing to it because I thought this video doesn't need to run on that long because it's just not that interesting to make a massive, long episode of The Descent of Man-osphere about him, really. So, you know, whatevs. But I did want to point out this one piece of obvious fucking bullshit on his part.
Be serious cuts to scientific research, to climate change and clean energy efforts, to government programs for our sick and our poor, to education.
I would like to believe that's what people voted for. They've not exactly had much luck with previous presidents reneging or doing nothing at all. With Trump, they have no idea. He's never done anything to make you wonder if he could be trusted or not.
Really, he's never given anyone any reason to suspect that he might not be trustworthy. Are you sure about that? Because, I mean, that's bollocks, isn't it?
There were all those times the American government sued him and his father for racially discriminatory letting policies in their buildings. So, you know, no reason to be distrusting of him then. Then, of course, there's the $25 million he decided to pay out because he knew he was banged to rights for being a fraudulent piece of shit with the old Trump University thing. Trustworthy. Then there was his intimidation of tenants in the 1980s. Then there was obviously the 4 bankruptcies, taking advantage of the system and gaining the American taxpayer there. Oh, then of course there was the employing undocumented foreign workers, which is very illegal, and also calls into question whether maybe, just maybe, his newfound distaste for that practice is because he's realised that racist idiots can be played for the idiots that they are. Yeah. Then, of course, there was the many hundreds of times he was investigated for, sued, and in some cases found guilty of breaking casino laws. Then in the 1990s, he was fined $750,000 for breaking antitrust laws. So, you know, again, lying about it in public as he has with all of these individual cases. Oh, and then, of course, there was the time during the recent election campaign where he spent $55,000 of campaign contributions on his own book, which is, you know, quite illegal. And of course, he lied about that as well.
And that was just a really small snapshot of the fucking just almost innumerable numbers of times that he's done dodgy, fucked up shit. We didn't even mention the sexual assault allegations, which, whilst they are allegations, do seem to be backed up by the whole pussy grabbing thing, you know, and the fact that he lied about that when he said that, no one has more respect for women than I do. What a load of shit, right? There's the links with the mafia, the fact that he was supposedly against Chinese dumping of steel on the American market, but used Chinese steel to build Trump Tower. There's just a fucking huge plethora of reasons why you shouldn't trust Donald Trump, which really means he should never have become president, but whatevs, right? And of course, the fact that he's, you know, seemingly colluded with the Russians to undermine American democracy. But apart from all of that, and so much more, yeah, he's never given anyone any reason to think he might not be trustworthy. You fucking shill, lying piece of shit. Fuck off. But anyway, let's move on, shall we? Because now it's time for... Yes, it's the inevitable bit about rape. And for Omegon's inevitable bit about rape, we're going to take a quick look at his rather pathetic attempt to try and debunk rape culture.
I love the myth of rape culture, and you've got sources for it. Let's have fun with that. So the source you provide takes us to lookdifferent.org, where it says rape culture is an environment in which rape is prevalent and in which sexual violence against women is normalized and excused in the media and popular culture. Examples of rape culture include blaming the victim, gratuitous gendered violence in movies and television, pressure on men to score, and refusing to take rape allegations seriously. And this, again, much like the consent, has a source, so we should look at that as well. It takes us to marshall.edu, and it has, if you scroll down, examples of rape culture. Oh, look at that. That makes me so moist. This is one of the funniest things you get to see. You have blaming the victim. No one blames the victim. No one.
No one. That's no one. Okay, so that would just literally take me providing one example of that happening to debunk you, right? Take it away, Fox News, dickhead.
She is leaving her home at 1 a.m. in the morning, and nobody forced her to drink. And what happens? She gets caught by her mom. She's embarrassed. And the easy way out here is, Mom, someone took advantage of me. But what did she expect to happen at 1 a.m. in the morning after sneaking out? I'm not saying, assuming that these facts are accurate and this did happen, I'm not saying that she deserved to be raped, but...
I'm not saying that she deserved to be raped, but...
Well, that was easy, wasn't it? Fucking hell.
Trivializing sexual assault. Boys will be boys is not trivializing sexual assault. And nobody trivializes it at all. It is a very serious thing.
Again, no one trivializes sexual assault, really. I mean, I suppose there isn't, like, an example of you doing precisely that later on in the very same video.
Some of us don't react well when we're challenged. Women disagreeing with us or telling us no, for example. In those moments, we react how we've learned to. With aggression, with harassment, with violence.
I love the choice of imagery as two white people arguing on a stage, debating perhaps as a white man and a white woman. It sounds oddly reminiscent of an election you recently had. I wonder if it's linked to this at all. Grab him by the pussy.
Yeah, it helps when you're trying to make an argument if you don't then absolutely refute your own argument later on in the same video, because that's a little bit self-defeating, isn't it? You dickhead. Anyway, yeah, I'm done with him at this point. I was going to do a more sort of in-depth look at him and his rape culture fucking flailings. Having a look at that list. He's just too boring. I couldn't be bothered. I'm done with him. I'm totally and utterly done with this turd. And what else is there left to say, really? One thing I didn't get around to mentioning was his really shit joke he does at the start of every episode where he has a sandwich wench make him a sandwich. Basically, it's a shit way of him being able to shout out creators he likes whilst also reinforcing gender stereotypes that he likes, basically. And so he'll say, "Oh, sandwich wench, make me a sandwich," and someone will have submitted him a video of them making a sandwich for him. It's so tedious. Yeah, and so there's not a lot left for me to really say that I haven't already said, really. Like, it's just... I think I summed it up in the intro. We could have just done the intro and left it there, really. He's a piss-poor version of the already piss-poor teal deer. That's what this dude is. He's a more boring version of teal deer, which I didn't think was possible, given that I'd already done an episode on teal deer and found him to be what I thought was the most tedious creature in the world. But we discovered new depths to plumb there. And he's just a total arsehole on so many levels. So, with all of that being said and being done and out of the fucking way, we don't have to return to this dude, certainly not for a very long time. So there's just one thing left. Omegons, omchiboms, uggity bibbity bobs, go fuck yourself.
I'd like to be under the sea in an octopus's garden in the shade. He'd let us in, knows where we've been in his octopus's garden in the shade. I'd ask my friends to come and see an octopus's garden with me. I'd like to be under the sea in an octopus's garden in the shade. Would be warm below the storm, this little hideaway beneath the waves. Sting our heads on the seabed, this octopus's garden near a cave. We would sing and dance around, because we know we can't be found. happy and they're saying we would be so happy with me. No one there to tell us what to do. I'd like to be